Hey guys, Elliot here with Empirical 360, and today we're going to be talking about preparing your healthcare site for marketing. So we're just going to dive right into some slides here. So making sure your website is ready for traffic. You can have the best ad strategy in the world. If your website is horrible, you guessed it, the results of your ads will probably be horrible also. So the outline of today's webinar is going to be call tracking, goal tracking, page speed, responsive design, making sure your site is up to date, and then landing pages. And there are a couple of different components of landing pages that we'll talk about. Also, to be noted, I will have this presentation available for download, and our YouTube channel has a ton of how-to videos. Also, some of them are nested in this presentation on how to accomplish most of these things. So, for more information, just be directed to our YouTube channel. So the first thing is call tracking, and I'm just going to read you a very basic definition. This is using call tracking software to track every phone call on your site. So how call tracking works is when a visitor arrives on your site, CallRail, which is the software that we recommend, uses JavaScript to detect their source and then swaps the number on the site to see what source that visitor came from. And so why this is so important, especially in the medical world, is you're going to have a lot of return calls from existing patients, and you don't want to attribute those to your marketing sources. So knowing where your calls are coming from is very, very important from an allocation of budget standpoint to know if your calls are coming from Facebook or Google or wherever it may be. And like I said, a major component of this is your existing patient base is going to be calling you on a regular basis. So what it looks like when you have call tracking, this is the CallRail interface. This is the software that we use. You can actually see if a call came from organic, meaning that they didn't click an ad, if it came from Google, meaning they did click an ad, or if it came from Facebook or a radio advertisement or whatever it is. You can have different dedicated numbers for different advertisements. So that way you have a handle on exactly where your calls are coming from. So, summary of call tracking. It is important to know what sources are driving phone calls for you so you can accurately allocate your marketing budget. And then there's also a short video here on how to implement call tracking. So that goes from starting an account in CallRail to actually setting up the numbers and setting it up on your website as well. So that's very helpful. So goal tracking. This is a little bit different. A call could be a goal on your website. But what goal tracking means is, different things that are valuable to you. So this could be an email sign up. It could be someone booking a consultation with you. It could be multiple pages visited. It could be time on site. But all of these goals can be tracked on your website to know what sources are producing for you. So this will help you identify which traffic sources are driving your unique goals. And there's also a short video here on how to implement goal tracking on your site. And this is done through Google Analytics. So, page speed. This is a very important aspect of any marketing, not just medical. But if your page is very, very slow, you can frustrate the user and they'll click on an ad and then they'll just leave and you've wasted money now. In order to find out if your site has a really slow page speed, you can go to this link here. It's Google's Page Speed Analyzer, and it will tell you how good your page is on both desktop and mobile. We also have a short video here on 3 tips on speeding up your page. Very simple tips that anybody can do. So what does the page speed grader look like? I threw in Harvard's edu domain here. So you can see on mobile, it got a 57 out of 100, which is not necessarily the best grade. And then Google will go through and give you some recommendations. It could be something as like cleaning up your code. It could be reducing the size of your images. A lot of different things can go into slowing down a page. And then you can also see on desktop, the picture on the right, that they got a 91. So it loaded a little bit faster on the desktop device. And then again, it'll give you some recommendations on how to actually speed it up so you can get to that 100. So, summary on page speed. It's a crucial component not only for performance of your ads, because like I said, when people get to a site, they want it to work right away. But page speed is taken into account when Google grades you for SEO. So if you have a slow site, not only are your conversion rates going to suffer from your ads, but your SEO ranking will go down because it's not a good user experience for the people searching you. So it's a very important component. Responsive design. So what this means is your site is ready for both desktop users and mobile users. And today it's super important that your site is ready for mobile. I would say, a lot of people say 60%, I would say 80% is almost the amount of mobile traffic that people get, and it's gonna move more and more towards, everyone using mobile. That's not to say people don't still research you on desktop, because we have found when it comes to medical, people like to really look into the doctor, they like to read the testimonials, they like to do a lot of different things. So a lot of research sometimes is done on desktop devices, but it is important because typically when it comes to ads, people are on mobile devices. So how to check your traffic. So if you go to Google Analytics, when you say mobile, most people just think like an iPhone, but there's a lot of different sizes of mobile, and it's important for you to view how your site looks on these different size browsers. So if you take a trip over to Google Analytics, this is a screenshot of screen resolution and the amount of users this particular site gets. So you can see that a common resolution is 360 by 640. That's actually somewhat, I think, of like an older iPhone. And there's a couple of different sizes there, but you can see that very few of them are actually from desktop. The next screenshot below that is actually mobile, desktop, and tablet. And as you can see there, out of 239 users, 189 of them were mobile. So what this tells me for this particular client is we really need to make sure that the mobile experience is strong. And so that's an important thing to keep an eye on from time to time. If you have a ton of mobile traffic and you know your site is weak from a mobile perspective, is going through and optimizing the site for mobile, design. So that's a very, very important thing, because again, you're spending money on ads, and what you don't want is to send people to a site that's hard to convert on. You want to make it easy for them to click the buttons, especially in mobile. You want everything kind of high up because they have to scroll very far if it's not high up. So that is something to take into account. So here's another example of responsive design. And both these sites are very nice. The one to the left is a dentist. As you can see, above the fold, we have a very strong call to action. It's call to book an appointment. The button there for the phone number is actually clickable. So if someone's on an iPhone, they can click that and it will prompt a call. That may seem very like common sense, but if someone doesn't link that number, you can click it all day long and it won't trigger a call. And as a result, the person would then have to type their number in on their phone, go back to the browser, look at the number and type it in, and they're probably just not going to do that. There's also a button there to make an appointment, and the form is above the fold, so they know that they can book an appointment if they scroll just a little bit lower. So that's a pretty good example to the left, and that's actually a page that we use, that layout right there, and it converts very well. So example 2, this is a beautiful site, beautiful on desktop, beautiful on mobile, but the first thing I see when I get to this site is the writing is hard to see because it's blending in with the guy's jacket. There's no number that's really front and center to click to call, and again, on mobile, that's what people want to do typically, is they want to call. And the two buttons are kind of stacking up against each other, and you may accidentally click one or the other. Again, people, you can fat finger a button on a phone very easily, especially if it's small. Like I said, beautiful site, beautiful colors, really nice imagery, but from a conversion perspective, I wouldn't necessarily want to send ads to that site immediately. So if you're Galloway, like I said, beautiful site, but there are some improvements that could be made just from looking at it. And again, all of these improvements could be tested to make sure that they're actually the right moves to make. So the next portion is making sure your site is up to date. So if you're running ads, and even if you're not running ads, it's important that your site is not super, super old. Again, whoever site this is, sorry, but I found this on Google. They're actually running ads to this site, and you can see that this is a very outdated site. And if you think about it from a medical perspective, you're asking these patients to trust you with surgery or, taking care of them. And if your site is not up to date, it really reflects on you. It's your storefront. And so where are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to an old rundown, restaurant that looks like it's dirty and it's not really that great looking? Or are you gonna go to the brand new restaurant that looks great? You're probably gonna pick the brand new one. So the same thing with your website. If your website's out of date and it doesn't look good, it's gonna be tough to ask a patient to come in there and trust you with their life if you're doing surgery on them when your site looks like this. So it's very important. Again, if you're about to start running ads to an outdated site, I would recommend getting your site redone by a web company that also focuses on ads, because they're gonna design it in a way that's ad friendly. So that's my advice there. So landing page. I'm going to read this definition straight off of here because landing pages sometimes can be hard to describe. A landing page is a page on your site that is designed to convert visitors into leads. So it's different from other pages because it's very conversion oriented and usually very specific to the advertisement that it was clicked on previously. So what that means is landing page pretty much has one goal: get that person to contact you or fill out a form, and we want it to be very, very relevant, and we'll go into a little more detail here. So, anatomy of a landing page. This is just a little sketch here that we have for a chiropractor. So what we want is the headline at the very top, that way these people know where they are. We also want the form very high up on the page, that way they can take action very quickly. Same with the phone number, just like we talked about. You want the phone number up high, you want it to be clickable. Below that, what we like to have is a headline, again, addressing what it is they're looking for, and then having a small paragraph, nothing crazy, nothing too lengthy. And again, it's all stuff that you can test, but we've found that this particular layout, has worked for us. And then we want, especially in the medical field, if you're a well-known doctor in the area and people are actually searching for you by name, having a nice picture goes a long way. It makes it a little more real for the patient to actually see the person they're going to interact with. Having a picture and then having a little bit about the doctor, where they went to school, kind of their hobbies, a little commonality. And then from a credibility standpoint, what we like to do after that is have a testimonial slider. If we have video testimonials, that's ideal, but at the very least have some testimonials, either a slider that we populate ourselves or one that pulls from your Google reviews is another good option, just so that they're verified by Google, which is a little more credible. And then if it's a broad advertisement, like let's just say someone's searching doctor for, orthopedic doctor, you can have the different services you offer. So the initial page will say orthopedic doctor, and then you can go into all the services that you offer. It could be knee replacement, could be hip replacement, could be ACL surgery, whatever it may be that you do offer. But just having that on the page so they know that you do more than one thing, and if it's a broad advertisement. If it's a specialized advertisement, you may not need this. In this case, it's someone searching for just chiropractor. So they could be searching for a bunch of different things, but they're just searching broadly. So we want to address every service that the chiropractor values. And then at the bottom of the page, we like to typically have another call to action, just because if they scroll that far, we want to give them the ability to fill out a form or call without them having to scroll all the way back up. It's just easier for the end user. So that's a very basic landing page layout that we've used quite a bit, and again, it converts very well. So add relevance, and I have a little picture of a dog sniffing here. So keep the scent trail alive. One of the best ways I had this described to me was, if you think of an advertisement funnel as like a scent and an animal following it, you want to keep each piece of the scent trail alive. And so what that means is, if your ad says one thing, you want your page to say another. And if you have multiple steps, you want to continue to address the customer's concern all the way through the funnel. That way they know exactly what it is they're getting on every step. If you were offering, let's just say, teeth cleaning in your ad, and you have x-rays on the next page, well, that doesn't really make much sense to the customer. It doesn't make much sense to the flow, and it will throw them off, and a lot of times what we'll see is they will bounce. So that's a very important thing, and I have an example here. If you look at this ad, and again, I just Googled teeth cleaning right in my area, you can see the first ad there, dentist at West Chase, affordable teeth cleaning. So very nice, relevant ad to my search term. But then I clicked on the site, and again, this is a beautiful site, really, really nice. It went to the home page, which is generally a more broad page. You're trying to address a lot of concerns on the home page. We prefer to direct them to a landing page. But what would have been better on this page, instead of saying "Your smile says it all," which is their slogan probably, you could have said affordable teeth cleaning. So I searched for teeth cleaning, I saw teeth cleaning in the ad, and now I see it on the page. And even better is having a special on teeth cleaning. So I'm getting a nice scent trail going for the patient here, and chances are they'll convert because I gave them exactly what they asked for. So that's a very, very important concept, both on Facebook and Google. If you're going to show an offer, make sure you address that offer on the very next page so they don't think they're getting scammed. So Credibility and testimonials. We have found that adding testimonials to landing pages can really boost the conversion rate, because it shows that, number one, you're credible, people trust you enough to leave you a review and endorse you. We've also found that adding different logos to your page, if you're a doctor, your certifications, if you have, your school that you went to, or different people that have endorsed you, or if you've run TV, you could do as seen on Fox News or whatever it may be. But all of those things tend to add credibility, and we have found that they boost conversion rate. So here, this is a plastic surgeon in the area who you can see he has them both right here on the page. He has a ton of reviews being pulled from Google, and he has a slider going. And then he has slightly below it all of his different certifications and groups that he's a part of to just add credibility. And again, he has a ton of them here. You don't necessarily need that many, but it does add to his overall credibility as a doctor, and probably his ability to convert on this page. So that's definitely something to consider when it comes to your landing pages. So that is the end of this presentation. Again, there are a lot of resources throughout the presentation, and if you go to our YouTube channel, you can find a lot of the how-tos on these topics that are way more in-depth. Again, like 5 to 10 minute videos to really help you set your site up for success. So hope you learned a lot, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, Elliot at empirical360.com, and I'd be happy to answer them.